April 5th, 1923. Inside Cairo's Continental Hotel, a wealthy British aristocrat named Lord Carnarvon is struck by a violent fever. At exactly 1:55 a.m., he takes his final breath. And at that precise moment, the entire city of Cairo loses power. Thousands of miles away in England, his pet terrier, Susie, suddenly begins to howl uncontrollably into the night, and then drops dead. Just months earlier, Carnarvon had financed the opening of a 3,000-year-old Egyptian tomb. Rumors circulated that a warning was inscribed near the entrance: "Death shall come on swift wings to whoever disturbs the peace of the pharaoh." Over the next few years, 22 people connected to that excavation would die in increasingly bizarre ways. We have to ask how this happened. Are we looking at the wrath of an ancient supernatural force, or a highly coordinated global media fabrication? By late 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter was out of time. His sponsor, Lord Carnarvon, had spent 15 years and the modern equivalent of millions of dollars scouring the Valley of the Kings, finding almost nothing. He gave Carter one final season. Then, Carter's workers struck a buried staircase. It led to a fully sealed tomb containing over 5,000 artifacts. Inside rested a dagger forged from meteoritic iron, a solid gold coffin, and the stunning, perfectly preserved death mask of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Almost immediately, dark rumors took hold among the local workers. The stories peaked when a cobra, the ultimate symbol of Egyptian royal power, slithered into Carter's house and swallowed his pet canary. The sheer, blinding wealth pulled from the sand created an incredible spectacle. It offered a blank slate, the perfect stage for the global press and the public to project their deepest, darkest superstitions onto a buried king. The newspapers painted this pharaoh as an omnipotent, vengeful deity. The biological reality was starkly different. The mummy inside the golden shell was a frail teenager. This diagram illustrates a simplified family tree of Egyptian royals, showing a severe genetic bottleneck. Generations of extreme inbreeding left Tutankhamun suffering from severe congenital issues, a painful bone disorder, and repeated bouts of malaria. He suffered from a severe clubfoot, making it impossible for him to walk unassisted. That is exactly why his burial chamber was packed with 130 walking sticks. His political life was equally damaged. He inherited a collapsing, unstable empire left in absolute ruins by his father, Akhenaten, whose failed religious experiments had thrown the nation into chaos. Tutankhamun's reign was so brief and disastrous that the rulers who followed him intentionally scrubbed his name from national monuments and historical records. He was the weakest, least historically significant pharaoh of his era. He was erased by his peers, and only remembered because grave robbers simply didn't know he was there to steal from. That terrifying ancient inscription promising death on swift wings, it never existed. When a journalist pressed a security guard about a curse, the guard offered a silent, knowing smile, and the reporter simply made the quote up. Competing publications realized fear was highly profitable. They took that single fabricated rumor and pumped it through their printing presses until it morphed into massive global hysteria. The echo chamber grew so loud that prominent intellectuals endorsed it as cold, hard fact. Even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, publicly stated his belief that an evil elemental spirit was protecting the tomb. The curse wasn't excavated from the sands of Egypt. It was manufactured in London to weaponize the public's fear of the unknown for financial gain. Let's look at the actual evidence. Lord Carnarvon didn't die from a magical hex. He died from an infected mosquito bite that worsened an illness he'd had for years, catching up to him in a world where penicillin hadn't been invented yet. The mysterious, synchronized blackout in Cairo was a matter as infrastructure, not magic. Faulty power grids and daily rolling blackouts were a standard, completely mundane occurrence in the city during the 1920s. This diagram compares the local time of death in Cairo against London. The story claims the dog died simultaneously, but when you factor in time zones, the dog died at 4 in the morning, hours after Carnarvon passed away. As for the deadly pathogens in the tomb, scientists did find an ancient fungus called Aspergillus niger, but this chart shows its actual threat level. It's a highly treatable respiratory irritant, nowhere near the mystical mass killer the press claimed. The entire legend relies strictly on confirmation bias. The public ignored natural causes, basic geography, and actual timelines to force an ordinary string of natural events into a thrilling supernatural narrative. The most glaring mathematical flaw in the myth is who actually survived. The primary targets, the individuals who physically breached the tomb and unwrapped the mummy, overwhelmingly lived well into old age. Howard Carter, the man who broke the seal and pulled the king into the daylight, lived for another 16 years. When breathless reporters repeatedly asked him about the curse, his answer was always the same: "I am still alive." Statistical analysis completely upends the legend. The average lifespan of the Westerners involved in the dig was 73 years. Being close to the tomb actually aligned with a longer life expectancy than the average for that era. The ancient Egyptians held a core religious belief: a person only truly dies when their name is spoken for the absolute last time. By attempting to erase his legacy and bury his memory in the sand, the succeeding rulers inadvertently protected his hidden tomb from grave robbers for 3 millennia. The fabricated media circus provided a beautiful historical irony. It took a forgotten, disabled teenager and transformed him into the most famous pharaoh on earth, accidentally granting him the exact thing he had always sought: eternal life.